wanted to show this because, one, many people think that the checkerboard floor is not Masonic, and they think, oh, how is the tile Masonic? Well, I'm going to show you the history behind it, and I want to address something. If I were to follow the Antichrist, wouldn't be exposing this now, would I? As the Masonic pavement of the lodge is discussed in the lecture of the first degree. This is commonly described as the checkerboard carpet which covers the floor of the lodge. The lecture says that the Masonic pavement is a representation of the ground floor of King Solomon's temple and is impermanence of human life checkered with good and evil. There you go. Good and evil. That says it all. That's one proof. Good and evil do not. What did Jesus Christ say about good and evil? A person cannot have good and evil in them. Either the person's good or evil. This is why they promote the checkerboard, because it simulates evil and darkness. Basically evil and good. But we all know darkness and lightness do not go as one. We know that. Lightness destroys darkness. In the account of King Solomon's temple in the Bible, the ground floor is said to be made of pine, of fir, but it wasn't made of the Masonic checkerboard floor. And if you actually look up the Solomon, it's connected to the Knights Templars. Be made of pine or fir, depending on which translation of the Bible you read. It is hard to imagine that pine or fir flooring would be particularly Masonic in nature. However, it can be agreed that the Messiah pavement represents the ground floor of King Solomon's temple in the entered apprentice degree, because that ceremony symbology takes place in that location. While these facts may not be particularly because they're not, the symbolism of the checkered carpeting presents some interesting concept. Can't pronounce that name. Of Freemason discusses the symbol of the Masonic pavement. The Masonic pavement is an old symbol of the order. It is met with in the earliest rituals of the last century. It is classed among the ornaments of the lodge, among with the intended tassel, because this is why it's important. Many people will just think, oh, it's just a tile. It's the history behind it, what it simulates. So why it's Masonic, it's the history behind it. Last century tassel and the blazing star, its party coloured stones are black and white, has been readily and appropriately interpreted as symbols of the evil and good of human life, because they're basically saying here that good and evil go together. No, they don't. Jesus Christ said an evil person cannot have good in them. That's like saying a serial killer can have good in them. No. Blackstone's human life. So from this information it can be understood that the content of duality has played a part in Masonic symbolism since the early days of the fragmented. While duality is not often discussed in the ritual of the Blue Lodge, which we know is the Scottish. The Blue Lodge is actually somewhere in Scotland where they do the main Freemasonry, and they're dead open about it. There's so many Freemason lodges around the world you wouldn't believe, but the ones that are so open are not the really high up powered ones. The high up powered ones are like the Illuminati. The Scottish Rite mentions this concept numerous times. Rite makes the idea of dualism or opposition in the universe an important part of its theme. Indeed, the ideas of the Kabbalah and the HMS are used in the Scottish Rite to discuss this concept in several degrees. As it says here, discuss. The Knight of the East and West discusses the idea of duality or good and evil as a conflict. Pike writes, God is great and God is good and wise, evil. This is not Christian. They basically say God is great and good and wise, and then they've added evil. Evil and pain and sorrow are temporary, and for wise and beneficial purpose, ultimate good will prevail and evil will be overthrown. This is how they trick people, because they don't even believe in God. This is why many people get fooled by the people in the music industry, because they put this coat on. Oh, we're Christians. They have their own Bible. It's called a Masonic Bible. But while this idea of duality between evil or cause of confusing to understand how they apply to our actions as Masons, when thinking about the idea of duality and the concept of good and evil, black and white, scared and profane, an image that immediately enters my mind is that of the yin-yang. That's why I keep mentioning the yin-yang, because it's the same as the checkerboard floor. This is actually the samurai. This is basically the samurai Japanese. Simulates, see how it's got white and black and white. Simulates gut lightness mixes with darkness. That's why it's done that way. Position. The yin-yang demolishes the duality. As it says here, yin-yang, while this symbol has become a sort of pop culture icon in recent times, its symbolism is deep and its meaning is subtle. While it has numerous be found, the Mason is taught to avoid it and to divide his time. Balance in the Mason's life, therefore, the symbolism of the Masonic pavement could be to mean that the balance provides the foundation for our Masonic growth. Maintaining balance allows us to adhere to many Mason teaching by balancing in our several stations. What was it said? This is The Masonic pavement, the black and white checkered floor, has existed in temples since the times of ancient Egypt. More than simply decorate, the Masonic pavement bears a profound existence, special meaning today. It is one of Freemasons' most recognizable symbols and is the ritualistic floor of all Masonic lodges. The pavement is the area on which indentations occur and is emblematic of human life, checkered with good and evil. The Masonic pavement is an old symbol of the order. It is met with in the earliest rituals of the last century. It is classed intended tassel on a blazing star. Its party colours stones of black and white have been readily and appropriately interpreted as symbols of the evil and good of human life. King Solomon's Temple. In the account of King Solomon's Temple in the Bible, the ground floor is said to be made of pine and fir, depending the Bible translation. As we see, as said, the checkerboard floor upon which the modern Freemasonic lodge stands is the old tracing board of the Greek architects. And while the modern organization is no longer limited to worksman guides, it still preserves its symbolism, as I showed you with the yin yang. Because many people will deny it and go, doesn't mean evil and darkness. It does, because there's the history of, as you see with, like, it was even in the video game Super Mario, the star and the checkerboard floor. The star simulates the sun and the floor simulates darkness and goodness. This ain't, it's not, they don't use this to do with human life, because we all know what the Freemasons about. They perform satanic rituals and they brainwash people's minds that we don't do anything, we're all good, and we know otherwise. And here is some more proof. The Masonic checkerboard is one of the most important symbols to the Illuminati, for it is used in ritualistic ceremonies. This is used because black and white is a symbol for duality, or the base of consciousness. Base consciousness is important because it is where all other states of mind arise. Personally, I like to think that checkerboards are also symbols for the celebrities being pawns. Duality patterns such as checkerboard stripes or zebras are also common, used as triggers for mind control slaves. In order to reach specific altars, I didn't add too much stripes symbolism wise, but as you see, this is the Masonic Lodge of the Freemasonry. You see the Illuminati pyramid, it glowing, and then the duality of the Masonic checkerboard floor. Alexander McQueen, the models are pawns. As you see, black and white. Same species simulates mind control as well, that's why it's used. See there? That's why they use it so much. They don't use it for no reason. You see, why do you think it's in music videos over and over and over and over? I mean, it's not, you see it everywhere. It's brain mind control. That's why they use it. You see it all the time. It's everywhere. Everywhere. Over and over and over. Now that is a ritual, you can clearly see. Checkerboard. It's no doubt. Alice in Wonderland, that's what that simulates, as you see. The Matrix. The Megan Fox. With Michael Jackson. Miley Cyrus. Natasha Kills. Nicki Minaj. I mean, it's everywhere. Pink, Freemasonry, the Royal Wedding. It's everywhere. It's not just used for fun. Shakira, Tina Fey, Whitney Houston, Willow Smith, Will Khalifa. There you go. Now you know the truth, and you can search it up yourself if you want to.